Orange County goes blue. Is this the end of the red, the Republicans? My name is Patrick Rooney from prrooney.com. Let me set the stage for you first. From the Rush Limbaugh show today, Rush was talking about the Orange County, California elections. The whole county went blue. This is with, on election day, many Republicans being ahead at the close of the actual election day, some by as much as 5 or 8 points, and they still lost. Every single congressional seat in Orange County was lost. This is huge. Orange County used to be, I grew up in the Los Angeles area. Orange County is nearby, and Orange County was always known as a very conservative, one of the most conservative counties in the whole country. Always voted with Republicans. There was no question about it. That started to change over the years. We got into the 90s. We had illegal immigration coming, more and more of that, and it started to narrow and narrow. And at some point, it actually went over. And I'll tell you about that in a couple minutes here. But just to follow up on what happened on Rush's show, a woman named Mary called in. And she said she was a Republican and got tired of the rhinos in California, which is totally understandable. There are a lot of rhinos in California, more rhinos than conservatives, it seems, for sure. So she became an independent. Mary became an independent. And she said she was sent 2 emails with absentee ballots, and she got a welcome from Taylor Swift on her email, in her email. And they also asked her in the email, would she be able to help other people get to the polls? Oh, how nice. Now, the following day, Mary told Rush she received 4 more ballots in the mail. 4 more ballots in the mail. Rush also discussed how John Cox, he's a Republican candidate for governor in California. He lost to Gavin Newsom, a corrupt liberal, no surprise there. John Cox in Orange County got 200,000 more votes than Democrat Gavin Newsom. 200,000 more votes. Yet every congressional candidate in Orange County lost. It's very, very fishy. Another caller, Marty from Huntington Beach, which is a very conservative area of a conservative place, Orange County. Dana Rohrabacher, by the way, has been the congressional leader there for decades, and he's very, very conservative. And he lost. He lost to a Democrat as well. So the caller, Marty from Huntington Beach, he said that he went to vote, a couple people in line ahead of him. They didn't have any ID or anything. So they went ahead and let them vote. By the way, in California, there's no voter ID. You just go in and they don't ask you anything, generally. You just go in and vote. You don't need an ID or anything. And these days, with these provisional ballots that we see are so common, you can just go in and vote, as far as I know, just virtually anywhere on a provisional ballot. And you don't need ID or anything. And supposedly later, once you do your vote, later they're going to sort it all out and figure out if you're legal or not. But that's where things get sketchy, right? Later, after the voting night. So Marty said a couple of people ahead of him didn't have their ID and they got the provisional ballots. And so, which reminds me of Stacey Abrams in Georgia, right? Every vote counts. When people say every vote counts, they mean anybody pretty much. No ID, no nothing. Maybe not even a citizen. And that's what Stacey Abrams was complaining about after she lost her election. She wouldn't even call Brian Kemp the legitimate governor of Georgia. Shameful woman, really. This is a story I wanted to tell you. This is what brought on, going back over 20 years, this is actually what brought on the mess, or the beginning of the end, I would say. It was a long, slow death for Orange County, but this is the beginning of it. In 1996, Congressman Bob Dornan, very conservative guy, was congressman for quite a long time in that area in Orange County. He ended up losing to Loretta Sanchez, a Democrat. And he only lost by 984 votes. That was in 1996. Dornan charged Sanchez. He said he lost because of illegal alien votes. So the House of Representatives went ahead and did an investigation, and they found that 547 non-citizens, illegals, voted in the election, but that was not enough to void the election. Now, a lot of people, including Dornan, said no, they didn't count all the people who voted illegally. The election was stolen from him. But the Republican Party would not fight for Bob Dornan in California at that time. And that was the beginning of the end. The Republican Party, especially in California, is known as weak rhinos. And you see rhinos all over the country, but in California, they've got some of the weakest of rhinos. They would not fight for him. Bob Dornan lost, and ever since then, afraid to be called racist, the Republican Party has gone downhill. And slowly but surely, they lost more and more congressional seats until this election, they lost all of the seats. And you could say high likelihood of voter fraud, just looking at the fact that people were ahead by 5 to 8 points on election night and still lost the election. Something is really, really wrong there. The state is completely overrun by Democrat socialists, so I don't know if there's anybody there who's going to check any of this stuff out. If any of this stuff will be checked out, who knows? I doubt it. It's really a crying shame. Let's wrap this to its logical conclusion. If this can happen in Orange County, California, one of the most conservative areas you've got anywhere in the country, it was anyway, until illegal immigration just gutted it. It can happen anywhere. Illegal immigration is doing this in red states, all over the place. In Arizona, a socialist just won. There's no reason she should have won, but she did win. And that was after, as I recall, that was after the election, after the polls closed, the Republican was winning, and after that ended up losing. Now look at these other states. Look at Texas. Look at Beto O'Rourke nearly beat Ted Cruz in Texas. In Georgia, Stacey Abrams, sore loser Stacey Abrams, almost won in Georgia, a pretty conservative state. Florida, Andrew Gillum, a total socialist and a racist, obvious racist, and a guy who got caught taking a bribe from an FBI agent. This guy almost won governorship in Florida. Pretty conservative state. It used to be very conservative. Lots of Cubans came over that couldn't stand Fidel Castro and would not vote for Democrats. That's changing with the next generation. And then they almost lost Senate in Florida as well. So these places are getting beat all over the country, and it's just a matter of time. It's a matter of time that immigration, and it's not just illegal immigration, but legal immigration too, from Mexico and Central America. These people they have dependency mindsets. They are not the kind of people who will vote for Republicans. I don't care what Republicans try to do to get these people to vote for them. They're not going to vote for them in any kind of numbers. And unfortunately, the white man is about the only last voter for the Republican Party. That's one reason why people hate white men so much, because the socialists just can't wait to get rid of them so they can take over the country. These numbers are very scary. Combine the immigration, you combine it with the school system that continues to teach socialism and just grind it into our kids' heads. You think about the entertainment industry that just keeps pushing out socialism. The way it's going, it does not look good. Short of something miraculous here, and short of people just getting off their butt and doing something quickly about this, we are in huge trouble. And this election really shows it. This election was a punch in the gut almost to me. It wasn't quite as bad, and it didn't feel quite as bad as the 2012 re-election of Barack Obama. Still shaking my head that somebody could destroy the country like he was doing and get reelected. I think there was a lot of voter fraud there. Who knows how much there was, but certainly there was a lot. But there was a lot of socialism there, and and illegals, voting as well, and just the dumbing down of our culture and the lack of morality in our culture that just keeps going down. You get somebody like Donald Trump that came in, has done such an amazing job, and yet is being called basically a demon, a Hitler. And even Donald Trump couldn't save this. If it wasn't for Trump doing rally after rally after rally and giving personal endorsements, can you imagine what would have happened to the Republicans? And this is after the Democrats have been acting like thugs, going around intimidating people. The candidates they have, the people in power, have no honor. It's amazing what they've done. They have no accomplishments, and yet they're still getting into office. It is mind-boggling. It's a very scary thing for looking forward into this country's future. So I definitely pray for this country's future, because we're going to need it. So one of the things that we need to do is get a hold of the ballots. We need to stop provisional ballots or curtail them to a huge degree. I mean, you can't just walk into a voting place and just not have an address, not have anything, and then be expected to vote. That is insane. We have to stop the illegals from voting and illegal voting. We need to get rid of all this early voting and this same-day registration. All this nonsense needs to stop. And lastly, I would say, if you really want to change things, and believe me, you're going to want to change things, because the country you are leaving for the next generation is going to be a very scary place unless you fix it now. I would say call the Republican Party, call your county Republicans or your local Republicans, get involved, become a delegate, become a committee person, become something, but you're going to have to get involved. If you do not get involved, you will lose your country. That's a guarantee. All right, we're going to be covering this more. This issue is certainly not going away. So I'm going to be covering this more and just shining a light on this stuff. It's got to be, we need more of an awakening. We have as I said, the only people that seem to be voting right now strongly Republican are white men. White women are not voting Republican. Blacks are not voting Republican. According to the numbers I saw, 90% are still voting Democrat. This is after Brexit. This is after all this walkaway stuff. 90%. Numbers I saw, 79% of the Jewish community, Jews, are still voting for Democrats. Pretty much every group that's out there. Of course, Hispanics are voting for Democrats as well. So no wonder they hate white men. Get white men out of the way, and they can have their country. They can take over a lot quicker. But God willing, that ain't going to happen. But it's going to take a lot of prayer and a lot of work. So we got to get busy, guys. All right. Make sure to like this video, subscribe to see my videos, and click on the bell icon so that you can get notifications of videos as they come up. And make sure to go to PR Rooney for freedom. Rediscovered. And I'll see you next time.